Hello, everybody. Hi. I'm going to be talking to Leah C4 in a moment. She is a relationship coach. And when I thought about how difficult it must be among many other challenges, but one thing that struck me was that being confined in a place, even if it's with someone, your beloved, can be difficult and can put a lot of strain on a relationship. So I immediately thought about chatting to Leah about that, because she is a relationship coach and she's always got absolutely marvelous ideas and strategies for coping. So I thought of her straight away, and she's agreed to come and chat to us and give us some ideas and to answer any questions that we've got. So I'll just wait for Leah to come along, and then we'll chat to her. Here she is. Hi. Hello, everybody. You'll be able to ask your questions of Leah. It's just connecting for the moment. Just if you bear with us for a second or two. It's telling me connecting, so Leah, it didn't connect you. I'm going to try again. I've added you.
Yay, there we go.
There you are. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Can we see each other? And I think maybe I must move this away because I'm a little bit large on the screen. There we are. Hi, Leah. Hello, Leah. Hi. I was just telling everyone about you and about how you offer great advice. I've loved since I met you, which is probably a year or 18 months ago, I think. And I followed your feed, and you've always given amazing advice. So I thought of you straight away when I thought about the challenges. One of the many challenges we're going to face is being stuck in confined place for extended periods with people that we love very much, but that's not always easy. So I thought people might have questions, and we could chat about that to alleviate some of that stress in our lives. So I live on my own, so I don't have that problem, but obviously that most people are with a group of people, or at least one other person. So
no, it really is it's what I call imposed contact syndrome. And what's been interesting to see what's been happening in China is the huge amount of divorces that are now happening after the lockdown.
Oh, really?
And there's been a huge increase and huge spike in divorce rates in China because of this. And I see this normally in January. January for me in my practice is divorce month, and it's always after Christmas.
Overexposure.
Overexposure, and you are in, I call it sounds terrible to say imposed contact, but you are in a forced closed space when you go on holidays. And I find that with a lot of couples, it's really easy to avoid the real stuff during the year when you're busy with work and with kids and with life. And you're going to come, you're going to come home late. You're going to be too tired. You're not going to try hard. You're going to distract yourself on weekends with friends and with dates and with social stuff. And suddenly the end of the year comes, and you now have to be face to face with each other day in and day out. And I think this is, look, we can either look at this lockdown as a lot of negative stuff could happen, or a lot of positive stuff could happen. And it's really going to be your choice as to how you're going to approach this and handle this. So you can use this time and get overwhelmed by it in your relationships, and think that things are going to be really monotonous and really boring, and everything's going to be this dull repetition every day. And there's going to be this whole underlying energy of fear and anxiety that's going on with everybody around the world with the situation. But guys, that is a choice. It is a choice if that's how you want to be in your relationships. Do you want to constantly bring fear and complaining and worry into every conversation, every minute of the day? And
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to try not to, because there's nothing you can do about this right now. This is what it is. The reality is we are in
Yep.
lockdown. So you can resist this or you can accept it.
Yes. And what you
So,
said, that to do things sort of actively, like beautiful things like playing cards. I love playing cards with my family. My grandson has been playing cards with us since he was a little chap, and I think it's also fabulous for, I mean, it's a learning, you know, fine motor, you know, as maths. I mean, it's got all of the things. But is it a good time as well to do those kinds of things where you're not just on your own phones and on the internet on your own, but to actually come together and to build a puzzle as a family? Or, I mean, would those be helpful? Do board games and things like that? Would that be?
Look, I think that the starting point is for everybody in a marriage, in a relationship, to recognize that all of you are in a state of anxiety. It's not that one of you is in an okay place and the other one isn't. So a level of compassion and kindness is really called for here during these next few weeks. A lot of tolerance and a lot of patience is going to have to be practiced. You know, before this, you could have a fight with your partner. One of you could leave the home to go and cool off a bit and come back. You know, you can't do that right now. So you really have to practice the art of responding rather than reacting. And if you feel you're about to react and get angry, leave the space that your partner's in. Go and take a few breaths and come back and look at a far more constructive way to continue the conversation. So I know that everybody is recommending finding a routine, and there's a reason for that, because the routine really alleviates this huge fear of the uncertainty of what's going on. We don't know how long this is going on for. We don't know if it's going to end, when it's going to end. We don't know what our jobs or our careers or our income or anything is going to be at the end of this. So a routine really helps to just calm that fear down, that you can actually have a predictable routine in your personal life, no matter what's going on outside of your home. Okay, so what you were saying absolutely can be part of the routine. So I'd say that a routine is definitely around wake up at the same time, go to bed at the same time. When you wake up in the morning, do shared exercise together. You know, remember that communication is only 7% verbal. And a lot of couples rely way too much on the small verbal communication to solve all the stuff of their relationship. So 93% of the way that we connect with each other and communicate with each other is non-verbal. So it's really important to do non-verbal stuff in your relationships during this time. So non-verbal stuff, exercise together. You don't have to speak to each other. Do board games together. Well, apart from board games where you'd have to speak to each other, but maybe you can, do yoga classes together, do meditation stuff together. You can build puzzles. Puzzles don't need verbal communication. You can play music and dance together. There's a lot of non-verbal ways that you can spend time together, which are really important. But it's also critically important to have your own private time. Separate space. It's going to be really necessary. And I know it's really hard for a lot of people that live in very small flats to do this, but everyone is going to have a space, hopefully, where there's some door or some curtain or some partition that allows you to go into a space to be on your own. Because this alone time, we can just collect ourselves and we need to kind of breathe a bit.
Center ourselves, absolutely. Yeah, I can see that. It's a good point about the getting up at the same time, because I can see that even for me, my day will shift, because I'll stay up too late and perhaps watching movies or reading or whatever, and then get up too late, and then it does leave you feeling sort of disconnected and out of sorts. That shift.
No, exactly. And another thing to do together to change the boredom is to learn things together. So please just don't watch endless, Netflix series. It's great. You have to do that for some of the day, but do more interesting things. Do an online workshop. Listen to podcasts or TED Talks. Do interesting things that, even whether this is just in your relationship or as a family, you're all learning new interesting things together. I'm a parent, and I can say that I haven't bothered with homeschooling at all since this thing started, because the strain it is creating between parents and children, trying to force this kind of home study situation. And then it becomes a fight between the parents of like, I'm always the one starting this and you never participating. And I just find that this whole homeschooling thing there are parents listening to this, is adding unnecessary strain. And a lot of my friends are teachers, and all of them are saying, like, please just let it go. You don't have to worry about this during this time. You know, they will catch up at school. This is what your teachers do.
And doing something constructive will help. I mean, as you said, I mean, just by playing games together and doing and learning new skills is an education.
But I think that parents get too obsessed with their kids having to be skilled and having to learn all the time. You also just have to let your kids be. We have to learn how to be. I think this is why lockdown is bringing up such anxiety for people, is that they haven't sat still for a really long time. They haven't been in silence for a long time. And you know that when you sit still, when you sit in silence, all of that stuff you have not been dealing with is going to come to the surface, especially so in a marriage and in a relationship. So I think it's really important also for couples to not bring your relationship stuff into a family space. Do not have your fights, your bickering, your nitpicking, and your attacks of each other in front of your children. The environment at home is stressful enough with what's going on. Do not add to that space. Go into a closed room. And there will be a time and a place to handle all of this. You know, my practice is still open. I still do Skype coaching throughout this whole time. So if you do need relationship coaching, you can absolutely book Skype sessions with me. But please be very conscious of what kind of conversations you're having in front of your children if you are with kids.
Yes, as you say, they're also feeling the stress. I mean, they're completely out of their routines as well, and they're picking up the stress. I imagine that low-level stress from the other members of the family, so it's hard for them. Someone just said battling to like her children at the moment from an awful parent. I don't think you are an awful parent. I think that's pretty standard. We all, at some stage or other, don't like our children very much, or our spouses.
Yeah, absolutely. And they don't like us very much either, you know, and that's completely normal. I think people get too obsessed with the word love. And I think it's quite a concept. You know, what love means for me is not what love means for my husband, is not what love means for my daughter. We all have very different concepts of it. So listen, everybody's going to get on each other's nerves during these 3 weeks. You cannot live in this confined reality without getting on each other's nerves. It's recognizing when you are, asking for the space, removing yourself from the environment where you can recognize that your nerves are getting frayed. And if you can properly learn the art of meditation through this process, it is taking 20 minutes to do a deep meditation that can get you out of a reactive space into a calm place that you can then go out and re-engage with your family. So this 3-week time frame is really going to be about mastering the art of self-management, of regulating your own emotions and how to manage that stuff.
And teaching the children to meditate as well. I mean, that could be a great, I've seen little children, is it in China that they teach them meditation at school, and it doesn't seem to be something we do here. So maybe we need to start a movement.
Absolutely, and I wish people would. And you know, there's a very big difference between prayer and meditation. And meditation in no way interferes if you follow a religious path. You can absolutely do both. I know incredibly devout people who add meditation to their spiritual practice, and it just enhances everything. Children love meditation. And, you know, I think what I'm loving at the moment is the amount of huge resources that have been made free for everybody, you know, from Amazon and from Audible, and a lot of free stuff to download and to listen to. So you can definitely download some guided meditations. There are amazing cell phone apps. There's Headspace, there's Insight Timer. I'm sure there's many more that your kids can absolutely follow for themselves. I think the thing with children that they're really struggling with is that they don't have a gap from their parents during this time. You know, most kids at least get to go to school and have a break from their parents every single day. And so you've got to encourage your child to make their own decisions for the day, to have their own space for the day, and to do what they feel they want to do for a part of the day. So you can have the routines, like you need to make your bed and you need to do your exercise every day and at least do half an hour of some reading or something. But apart from that, your time belongs to you and you can spend it how you want. Just give kids a sense of autonomy over their own lives during this time. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because everybody's feeling out of control at the moment.
I think that for me is the thing. It's the not being at home, because I work on my own at home most of the time. But it's that it's out of my control, and I'm sure that's common. When we're not used to that, I'm used to being able to do whatever I want when I want to. Quite different.
Yeah, absolutely.
we're in South Africa. For those that don't know, it's our first day in total lockdown today. So really no going out at all.
No, there's already been arrests happening. People who are
Really?
not, people are trying to going outside and running. No, they're taken very seriously. 21 days. So, the thing about control is when you feel out of control, what most people normally try and do is try desperately to control their environment, because then it makes them feel more in control of themselves. And I see this a lot with marriage and relationships. If I can control my partner's behavior, I'm going to feel better. If I can just control how they speak and how they behave, then things will be okay. So please be awake you are not doing that with your partner, and that you're definitely not doing it with your children.
Yes.
Because that just creates that friction that nobody needs right now.
That's a good point. So that balance between encouraging the routine and so on, but without trying to control them completely. Okay, that's good advice.
Yeah. And always with their participation. Don't be a dictator with your kids. Don't be a dictator with your partner. This is how it has to be. This is what I think would be nice. How do you feel about it? Is it something you want to do? No? Okay, great. Then I'm putting it down and I'm letting it go. When it comes to having conversations during this time, please make sure that it's if you're wanting to have proper, real, deep conversations about an issue with your partner during this time, make sure that all tech gets switched off. TVs, phones, and computers are switched off. You are actually facing each other, eye contact, focusing on each other. And conversations during this time, and actually conversations ever in relationship, cannot start with the word you. You can't make sentences of, well, you're the reason that I'm not okay. And if you just change your behavior, then you've got to stop doing that. And it just becomes an attack.
Yes.
And the person on the other side is just, all their defense is going to come up, and they're not going to listen to what you've got to say.
Yes.
So always shift your statements to be I statements. I am feeling really anxious about what's going on. Can I share how I'm feeling with you? I feel that I haven't had much support from you when it comes to cleaning the house. Could we come up with a schedule? I feel that you're spending way too much time on your computer or your phone, and that we're not doing stuff together. So can we talk about how we could engage? Suddenly when you're starting a sentence with an I, it invites your partner in instead of pushes them out. So be aware of how you're speaking.
Great. Oh, that's fantastic. Are there any specific questions? We've got lots of people. Hello, I saw Haywood. Hello, Haywood, darling. Who else is there? Anything else in particular that? But those are all. It gives me a nice, great advice, Leah. Thank you.
No, absolute pleasure. And I think just to leave you and with understanding that we are all going to be in different emotional states on different days.
Yes.
And don't try and make everything happy all the time. I don't mean that you've got to be sad all the time, but there has to be a balance. Some days you're going to be scared. It's okay to be scared. And just be in the fear and let it move through you. Some days you're going to be really frustrated. Just use that as an energy to move through your body, instead of trying to placate it all the time and go, oh, but at least we've got food, but at least we're safe, but at least we're not out there. It just dismisses the real emotion that is going on. And you definitely are not going to be very often in the same emotional state as your partner or as your children while this whole lockdown is going on. So yes, there's probably going to be some tongue biting happening during this time. Please practice the art of not just blasting people with your mood.
Yes.
Take deep breaths, manage your own emotional state. And just patience and kindness, guys. That's really, for me, the key words through these next 3 weeks. Just be yourself. And if you are not in an okay state, you cannot show up for your partner or for your children. So you have to take time to make sure you are okay. And do the work on yourself. So one day at a time.
And we come out of it hopefully stronger if we practice some of those things. That's great.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. That's wonderful. And I'm going to save this so that anybody that wasn't here now can access it for the next 24 hours. And thank you so much, Leah. And lovely to know that you're online as well, if people need you.
If people didn't get to put questions forward now, you can absolutely, you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I do Facebook Live videos every day. So feel free, really. Just any questions that come up for you, let's handle them there. And thanks for having me. And,
fabulous.
And together we get through this.
Hang in there, one day at a time.
Absolutely.
We'll chat again soon. Thanks so much. Lots of love.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.